Yes, I've pretty much been working on this throughout the week. So, I'm excited. I don't even know where to start. We got a lot of stuff here. Now, as you could probably guess, it's Mukbang A, or Meowkbang, Mukbang A. So, got a lot of stuff, and everything here starts with an A. So, pretty excited. I'm debating on how I want to explain that to people because it might get a little tiresome to explain it a lot, but that's fine. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, without further ado, I thought I'll list off everything I've got here. And I may go ahead and copy paste it into the chat, shoot. But yeah, I've got, starting over here, some apricots. Unfortunately, the season for apricots is over with, so I had to work with some of the best dried apricots I could find. And then this is a treat for me, a very me treat. I've got all sorts. All sorts is a type of assorted licorice. It's very old-timey. And essentially, it's just a bunch of licorice. There's a lot more coconut in it than you would find in any contemporary licorice, or whatever you want to call it. Some avocados, very pequeño avocados. Curious about that. And raw almonds. I prefer raw. I think they have a nicer, funner texture, but roasted is cool too. This is a little weird. American cheese. Now, cheese itself would go on a C mukbang, but this is American cheese. It's not really cheese, right? Some apples. Two of my favorite, which are Granny and Fuji. Can't help myself. Got this asparagus that I cooked up. Kind of like in a blackened style, but it's not really blackened. We didn't go crazy with it. Char it to hell. Let's see. I'll name off some other stuff in a sec. So how's everyone doing? Got our first drink of the day. Alexander. So Alexander is apparently a brewery that has a few different lagers and other types of beers in it. And I just saw it, and the A was so bold and striking to me that I just couldn't really help myself. Oh wow, hello. Hey. Welcome in to my Meowkbang. Let's pour us off. Quick little Alexander here. By the way, guys, you're my guests for the meal, so to speak, and I figure since you have the privilege of playing whatever music you wanted with your dinner, you may as well do so. So there's not going to be any music this time. Maybe for the B one, we'll get some bops in here, some bangers, right? Bangers and bops for the B Meowkbang. Top that off a bit. That's a very pretty amber color. I can dig it. I can dig it. By the way, let me know if the audio is bad. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a nice microphone that I like. I'm fond of it. But I have no idea what I'm doing. Gabby! Oh my god. Soju? There's no soju today. So, this right here is probably what you're talking about. This is an Armenian apricot wine. So, it actually comes in a normal bottle, typically. But when I saw this, while I was on my hunt for apricots, my absolute fiendish tearing apart of markets to find fresh apricots at the very, very end of the season, I found this, and I feel like this is really cool. So we're just gonna have ourselves a nice glug of Armenian apricot wine, courtesy of the 365 Brewery, winery. So, yeah, this is something really special, guys. This is a pizza. Made this myself from Scotch. And, that's strange. One sec, I'm checking out something on my stream. Oh, the audio is off? That is super lame. Dang. So I'm looking at the stream in mod view, and this is crazy. I keep getting a bunch of weird messages getting blocked. Sorry about that. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, this is a pizza that is a direct reference to one of my most favorite video games of all time. So, Quest for Glory 5, there is a really weird, super janky, like 1998-ass crafting mechanic. And you can get an artichoke pizza from a vendor. You can get anchovies from this random fisherman. To progress through the game, you may, depending on a kind of coin flip, you may need to actually drag and drop anchovies onto an artichoke pizza. Wild. You don't even get explained that there is a crafting menu in the least little bit. And it was 1998. So, anywho, we're gonna give that a shot. I have come to really like sardines in the last many years. And anchovies are a bit different, but I feel like if you like sardines, you can enjoy anchovies. So, this is something really special. I've never made this before in my life. These are Arayes. It is a type of Lebanese stuffed pita. Some people call it the cheeseburger of Lebanon. Some people call it the quesadilla. So, because I was introduced to it as Lebanese quesadilla, I went ahead, and you can't really see it in there, thankfully. I commit some sacrilege and put cheese into the Arayes. So, sorry, I needed my quesadilla fix, and when they said that it's the quesadilla of Lebanon, I took that really seriously and personally. Speaking of really cool ethnic food, from way far out from the US in terms of origin, this is something my mom made for me all the time growing up, and I went ahead and got her to make it for me again. It's Aloo bean baingan. It's a potato, black-eyed pea, and eggplant sabji. Now, those ingredients in English, there's not an A in sight, but Aloo bean baingan is what we've always called it, and it is an aubergine sabji. So, no matter what, I'm winning here. The allegations must not even begin. Oh, specialty right here, very in season, acorn squash, done up in two ways, sweet and savory. Very excited for the savory, but the sweet should be nice too, I mean, of course. Finally, arugula salad, very straightforward with a balsamic vinaigrette and Amish sour cream. And arroz con leche, rice pudding. The vast majority of this was made out of my kitchen, so I'm really excited. I've been drooling over some of this stuff, curious about other things here, and I'm just really glad we're all kicking back together, and it's time to enjoy a really special, fun meal. So, let's start with some arayes. Interesting. So it looks like a Moroccan thing. How is that pronounced? Is that pronounced like batbout or batbout? Lee, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad it looks amazing. We're gonna have to try these things one after another and see, you know, the verdict in terms of taste. I'm excited though. So, whoever thought to put Amish sour cream with a Lebanese pita stuffed type savory entree? Possibly somebody, but I know that this is usually served with a creamy tahini-based sauce. I believe tahini, yogurt, and several herbs. None of those things do, unfortunately, start with an A, and I was sort of rushing to figure this all out, so let's try it with this. But boot. Okay. But boot. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The filling is a kofta. And so, you know, there's a lot of spices in there that I'm familiar with from Indian cooking. I remember we put in cumin, smoked paprika, cayenne, some other ones too. So, coriander for sure. I'm pointing at this. I meant to be pointing at this. Coriander for sure. It's very, very spicy, very savory. I was super worried about the salt content of things because there's so much here today. So I actually wish that I included more salt with this, guys. I'm not gonna lie. But it's not bad. Not at all. Okay, so I didn't even talk about this. This is a flatbread that my mom makes. It's from our culture. A lot of people are more familiar with like this very festive version. Festive. Pani puri. But this is just puri. Puri is a fried bread. It's very similar to fry bread from American Indian culture, but that's just a total happy accident. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, get me a dipping salt, Wolfie. That's pretty unhinged. I just imagining a bowl of. Well, actually, there are a lot of foods where that is normal. I don't know if I could adjust though. If I want some salty, I'm gonna go for this savory acorn squash because I roasted it up with a bunch of soy sauce. I pretty much let the soy soak into it, and I have a towel in my lap. I'm not a freak. I'm sorry, just like wiping it directly on my pants. I needed you to know. This has soaked in a lot of soy sauce, depending on where you come from. So it should be really good and salty. Guys, yesterday was Diwali. That is a Hindu festival of lights celebration of the return of a crucial god from exile into a land of darkness, basically. So you go, you know, balls to the wall with lights and various festivals. A lot of people give praise to Lakshmi and other gods and goddesses. So, the deal of me mentioning Diwali at all, I had a lot of salty food yesterday, so I think my taste buds are shot for salt. Just a little shot. Just a little bit. Oh, the Fops picture. That Fops was done by this really cool, like, super small-time painter lady who paints on silk. And I met her in Montana when I went for the Huckleberry Festival. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I almost forgot. Why did I go? Oh yes, that thing that I was hyping up for months in a row. Yeah, that was a lovely time. This is really smooth and light. It does have a bit of a hop taste going for it, not gonna lie. And I'm like a very mood-oriented person when it comes to hops. But this isn't bad. I'm not in the hops kind of mood, and yet it's not bad. Alexander Estonian Lager, just the standard one, none of the special varieties, is not bad. Not bad at all. Cute little head on there. Isn't that? Love it. Oh, a test for my taste buds. It feels like my tongue has ever felt. Maybe I need to start gauging that a bit more. Develop a sense for it. Yeah, it could be good with something sweet, I think. Ugh, man, I love black licorice. I think it started out because I wanted to be like, I wanted to feel like an old person when I was a kid, and everyone told me, oh, only old people eat black licorice. Other kids will think you're crazy. Don't mess with that. I developed a genuine love for it. So, here we are now. I wonder if I can kind of show you guys the varieties of licorice that are in all sorts. Like, better than my display here, because my display, I'm just gonna be like a bit brutally honest, the display is kind of crappy for capturing every detail of everything. So these are all sorts of licorice. I think there's like another sort or two in there, but I love all sorts of them. Okay. I mean, they pair pretty nice. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was pretty outspoken too. They actually filmed my ass because my dad and mom met kind of in their film school era. They filmed like baby me going on an absolute tangent about how could anyone be so insane as to like grapefruit juice. I remember it. I like grapefruit juice now, obviously, as a grown-up, but yeah. For C, get some calorie mates. Aren't those hard to get? Isn't it like a limited edition MGS thing? Or you're just saying like get some like in a funsy, silly kind of way? Oh, grapes are bomb. Grapes are awesome. Grapefruit, like I feel like that's kind of that's a real divisive one because of how bitter and even sour it is. When it's bitter and sour at the same time, right? Like that's a bit of a daunting one for kid taste buds. I would say bitter because a lot of kids like sour, you know, but still, just saying. So can I open the Arayes and stick? Okay, not really. It's kind of stuck because some idiot decided to add cheese to them. So can't believe that guy. That's crazy. So I can get them on Amazon? I don't like buying stuff from Amazon, but I thought they were like, if you didn't get them during like 1 week. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll get some. Maybe. Probably. That's right. See, Wolfie gets it. Everything kind of needs yummy cheese. There were a couple weeks where I was like cheese maxing. Like, as if I was like a mousey or something. I was like cheese maxing. I was putting cheese in places cheese just didn't need to go. Was anyone here affected by the cheese? And oh, no, I think I was taking my break from the internet. Well, now I gotta say it. So, raspberries were on sale. They were on like super duper sale. It was like a huge container of them for $1.50. So I like kind of cooked some raspberries down and then just like added a bunch of mozzarella cheese to them. And the raspberries were so violently sour, right? They were so punchy with the sourness that I could barely even tell there was cheese there. It actually made me reflect on, like, sometimes people say that tomatoes are super acidic, and yeah, kind of. But I was like, if you really want to, like, up the acid factor on something, and it doesn't have to be incredibly savory, maybe go with ras, actually. How do you pronounce that? I'm familiar with that food. I put apostrophe after the M once, and I got like almost banned from a friend's server. So how does one pronounce musemen? Yeah, how do you do that? What do you do? I did like a milady, but like interesting. Okay, the S is very close to the M. Alright. If you'll excuse me for truly just a sec. I need to be able to cut pizza. What can I say? Take my time. Lee, thank you so much. And thanks for dropping in again, everybody. You're really sweet and really fun folks for making it out here to be my dinner guests. Let's see here. Put everything together for just a moment. You know, the curiosity, it's just maddening in a way. Do you not love the pizza scissors? Once I was exposed to pizza scissors, there was just no going back. Honestly, if you like your non-pizza scissors having life, don't start using pizza scissors, alright? Anchovie artichoke pizza. Did I get any anchovy in this bite? Oh my gosh. That's fine. That's fine. So, I was extra careful to not oversalt the rest of the pizza. I did not oversalt the dough. I did not add salt to the tomato bruschetta type thing that I made into the sauce. And I drained out, like I strained off, poured off a lot of the marinade for the artichoke hearts. This is kind of lovely. Shouts out to the creators of Quest for Glory 5 back in the old Sierra games for planting the seed for this to happen right here and right now. Is it any and all cheese, Lee, that you can't have? Or is it just like some of them? Is it like a lactose thing? Arugula salad. You know, it's a lot of things right now that I did not mess with when I was a kid. It's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I did, but a lot of things I did not like as a child. Okay. So, I wanted to do my own spin on a balsamic vinaigrette. I kind of cheated. I kind of played around, did things I know I'm not 100% supposed to do. I used a balsamic vinegar that had no sugar added. So it's nice and legit. But then, I cooked off about 25% of the liquid. Ooh, sorry about your ears. Sorry, guys. I cooked off about 25% of the liquid from the balsamic. So, it's very sweet and very rich, and I like it. Le gasp. How bad was that? Did it clip the mic or anything? Because it's kind of close to the mic. My salad bowl went ahead and just rammed into my dinner plate. Felt pretty rookie. Felt like a pretty rookie mistake, guys. So, the story of why there's even American cheese amidst this spread of culinary diversity and care and attention is because oh no, Gabby, I didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know it was wrong. I've had a few friends tell me, nah man, American cheese, it isn't the business, but it gets a bad rap. You gotta go ahead and get yourself some Boar's Head, man. Like, they're really like about the Boar's Head brand. So I looked into it because I don't write people off as like cuckoo just for liking something that is kind of looked down upon by gourmands or whatever. Boar's head is, how do you say this? A bit exceptional. It is made with whole milk, and it is allegedly kept to higher quality standards, and is usually sold in delis, where an actual deli worker does the shaving for you. Yes, this is our white American cheese, and then right here, I have the yellow one. I'm gonna try the white one because when I was setting up the plates, I got carried away and started sampling the yellow one, and I was pleasantly surprised. But that's, you know, I couldn't just like open with that. All these spoilers, all these things that I wasn't supposed to do. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Oh. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. That smells great. We're gonna let it breathe though. Gonna let it breathe. Be cool and everything. Just a few minutes. Probably not even close to necessary. Alright, let me like stop neglecting this chat. Okay. So, American cheese is normally pretty lackluster. It satiates some basic flavor cravings and textural cravings, because it's a pasteurized processed cheese related thing. Excuse me. It's made using melting salts, which are like sodium citrate and other fancy food chemicals that are called melting salts mostly because they give that impression of meltiness in cheese quicker. Cheese proteins kind of want to gunk and stick to each other, but when melting salts are present, they're a lot more willing to slide past each other, leading to that like velvety texture. And that's a big part of American cheese's appeal, and I've heard a few like explanations as to why it ever even came to exist. One of the big things is it is majorly made out of whey, rather than casein. Casein is the normal protein that you separate off from whey when you make cheese, but American cheese is sometimes entirely whey, and that's only possible due to the melting salts. Very interesting stuff, guys. Food nerd moment. Yeah. It's so floppy. Sorry, that's a creepcast. That's a creepcast bit. I love creepcast. All right, let's get a bite of Arayes with the American cheese on it. Please don't hang me for this. It's fusion, okay? It's culinary fusion. Oh my god. It's like a spiced cheeseburger now. Of course it is. Well, again, turned a traditional food into burger. It's true. You know, I didn't mean to. It happens. You know, just once in a while you turn traditional food into burger. What can you do? So, a thing that I wanted to mention is it was, again, Diwali yesterday. So, in Indian culture, we have our own version of this, as do many cultures. A version of rice pudding. Arroz con leche is the recipe I chose to go with here. But because it was Diwali yesterday, I ate a good bit of kheer, which is Indian rice pudding. And it's okay. I adore rice pudding, so... minimal complaints here. Minimal. God. That's so much. Okay. We will come back. Definitely to that. I need a sip. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again for being lovely dinner company. I feel you. It does kind of look like a big thing of, like, you know, in Russian, like, a very normal way to refer to mashed potatoes as a food is just puree. Like, just puree. And that's it. Or puree. And that's like mashed potatoes. It isn't to say that it is pureed tomatoes, but I mean, effectively, mashed potatoes, pureed tomatoes, or potatoes. What's the big diff? Oh yeah, that's right. There's that trick that people who drink a lot of wine do. They like do this to get like the sulfites out or whatever, because a lot of them precipitate at the top. Armenian apricot wine. I don't have a stem wine glass, but this is close enough, and my hand isn't going to fry the wine, so I'm not too worried about there being no stem. Cheers. I wish I knew how to say cheers in the Armenian language. I really could have and should have learned it before this, but sorry. Yeah, wow. That's like very mellow and kind of almost candy sweet. Like, it isn't trying to be like a light Moscato. It's definitely its own thing, but I enjoy it. For C, will I make congee? I can. That's another thing that's like kind of adopted by dozens of cultures, but if you actually have a variety in mind, and it starts with C, or it is called congee, and it's not like the craziest variety of congee just for the sake of driving me up a wall, then yeah, I'll take it as a suggestion. That's the whole reason that there are apricot things here. A friend of mine who I figured would appreciate it all, he requested apricots, so felt like I had to go ahead and include some apricots. Just put you back down there. There you go. So, not bad. I'm not a huge wine fan. Never have been. Never been like a wino or a crazy fan of like all of the different attributes one can study and learn for wine. I've never been like that, but respect it to a very modest degree. Hutafat. Alright. There's no way of knowing where to put the stress on the syllables, but I dig that. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought it would be so easy to learn how to say cheers? Alright, let's get a little bit more of Mom's thing. Yep, she made this specifically on request. She's so sweet. Hutafut. Sweet. I can dig it. There is something kind of me-coded that we're gonna do with this Armenian apricot wine, because I don't go crazy for dried apricots. So, we've got a small handful of dried apricots here. I'm going to carefully just open them up. Yeah, get them like butterflied, so to speak. Beautiful. One more, because I don't want a bajillion. So what I'm making here is not a flying from the seat of my pants type experiment. There are a lot of different names for this and a lot of different instances of doing it with different things, but usually it's done with a really strong liquor and you soak the fruit for like a couple weeks. Up to a couple weeks. But I figured that would be fun. Yeah, soaking. Dried foods are a very complicated thing to approach. That is fair. They have their place, but it's not every place. Yeah, so it's very dense, and it takes a while for the flavor you want to sort of peek through. And even then, it's very much lost in that generic flavor that all dried fruit starts to kind of pick up. Where it's like, okay, all of it's like this dried, sweet, almost raisiny kind of vague flavor. Yeah, 100%. There are a few there are a few fruits that have such a particular distinctive flavor that I do believe they dry nicely, they dry elegantly or whatever, and they remain distinct enough to where it's like, okay, this is like kind of worth including in something or even worth snacking on. But I'll be honest, guys, that's not most of them. Like maybe apples kind of do their own thing to where they're particular enough. Probably some other ones. If you want to count tomatoes, yeah, totally. They're on their whole different. They're on their own little page of the food world book. So I was curious. You know, people are at home. They're eating at home. What are you guys eating, if you're eating anything right now? Or what do you want to eat, I guess, if you're not eating anything right now? Cheese pizza. So we're eating the same thing, minus artichokes and anchovies. Cheers to cheese pizza. Potato and tomato tagine sounds really nice. You know, a relative of my mom's, an ancestor of my mom's, spent part of her life in Morocco. And Moroccan cooking kind of shines through in certain parts of the cuisine that we grew up on. And so at one point we got her a tagine, like a nice, like earthenware tagine for Christmas. And I think that there's a certain type of tagine that you can cook in, and then there's another type that you should only just ever use for like serving the food or even decoration. So she tried to cook in this one, and it shattered on the stove. I remember this. And I teased her about it a lot, to the point where I got in trouble. And now I feel bad anytime I look at a tagine. Right, because like, how are you gonna cook with this ceramic thing on our stoves here in the US, which is either a gas burner or like various types of sketchy electric stove? Also, Wolfie, I wish your pizza had mushrooms on it. Mushroom cheese pizza is like such a perfect comfort food. Oh man, everything's so cooked. Let's have some more of like one of the only raw things at this table. All right. Okay. Yeah, direct fire kind of makes sense. It's actually shocking to me how much, like, gentler in some ways cooking on a direct, like, an actual open fire can be. Because, I mean, every bit of conventional thinking, it doesn't lead you to that conclusion. Until you know. Once you know, you know. Still, baby, very hard for your brain to accept it. But at least you know. sea bream is a vocabulary word that has too many cobwebs on it in my brain. What is sea bream? Is that a type of rock or mineral? Or is it just a brand altogether? This is gonna sound really weird, but anytime I see the word arugula, I read it out like a question being spoken by like some kind of critter that was recently taught English. So I read it out as Arugula. I don't know why. But yeah, I can't help it. So when I bought this bag of arugula at the farmer's market, I was like, Arugula. Anyway, now you get to know that. Oh. That's why it was in my vocabulary. Sea bream. Duh. I'm so focused thinking, oh, that's what the tagine is made out of. It's made out of this this rock called sea bream. Holy shit. Alright. That's really cool. Man, I can dig just all the varieties of fish. And there's so many that like you literally never ever get exposed to eating the various cuisines out here. Like you would not in a million years. Like sea bream is one of the ones you can get over here. I'm just talking about like certain stuff. It's just tougher to get over here without going to a specialty market. See, Wolfie gets it. You take the sea bream, you make it into a tagine. Step 1, acquire a sea bream, and eventually you have a sea bream tagine. I don't understand how this is so difficult to comprehend. Like, gosh. Thought it was obvious. Okay, get your life together, Faye. Oh my gosh. I would say salmon and tuna, super duper ultra mega common. Swordfish, not unheard of, considered more specialty, almost verging on exotic. Maybe not exotic, but yeah, specialty for sure. You hear someone say like, oh, I had swordfish for dinner last night. It's like, oh, so are you like a cook or did you go somewhere really nice? Like, again, Wolfie gets it. I mean, come on, we have bone china. We have bone china, and you're telling me we don't have sea bream tagine? I just look like I'm almost dying every time I take a bite that big. let's be reasonable and have some licorice. Yeah, bone china is a thing. If I recall right. Oh gosh, one sec, guys. I need to see if I lost video. Okay, yep. I wonder what happened over here. One sec. I gotta see about this. If we've been really good this Christmas, I can fix it. I still am a bit in the dark on what happened, but I managed to fix it. Allegedly. I won't trust it until I can see it on the mod view. The relief is palpable because it's my relief. Alright. That calls for some apricot wine chews? This is like wine gums. Oh my gosh, maybe this is, I have no idea. Wow. Oh. Hutafat. Oh. God. Just get it over with. They're not my favorite thing together. They're not my favorite thing together at all. How can I say this? It definitely brought out things in each ingredient that I don't love. Don't love that, you know? It's just how it goes sometimes. You win some, you lose some. You combine some good foods and discover a new trendy thing that everyone wants to try. You wish that you hadn't done that. It's, you know, give and take. Little brown sugar acorn squash to ease your woes. Aww. Betty buys time. Well, you know, you stuck around for a good deal of this good meal. I'm really pleased to have had your company. Aw, love you too, Lee. You know, next one, you gotta fly out here, and you'll just sit right there, and it'll be easy. Already a done deal. Later, sleep tight. Don't let it bite. You know what it is. I can't say it, but don't let it bite. I feel like half the people here know that joke. Get what I'm getting at. Okay, they're probably gone. I was talking, of course, about the pukeko. It's like one of the funniest things. So, this Amish sour cream, there's not like that much going on that sets it super far apart from regular sour cream. I will say it's very rich, and I think the texture is cool. The texture actually harkens more toward like yogurt, which again, also not the craziest thing in the world. Pretty much adjacent foodstuffs, but yeah. You know what's crazy? It says that Crow is here. And I swear on everything, Crow hasn't spoken like once during this entire stream, which is not a problem, by the way. I just am like, are you sure, Twitch? I'm trying to not be wasteful. I just want my avocado, please. There. Not bad. Good enough, as some would say. Right there. Some silly banjo time when B happens. Honestly, I made sure that I wasn't like completely like ineptly rusty on the banjo just in case a bunch of people were like, play that fucking banjo. Like if they were like aggressively like, play the banjo, play it now, play it or else. But I could definitely make sure that I'm even less rusty by the time B rolls around, because you could feast your ears on some banjo. Imagine if, like, instead of French fries, there was just, like, asparagus. Like, oh yeah, I'll get, like, a double Whopper, large Coke, and a large asparagus. It is crazy. It is crazy that you just throw out invoke the name of the jaw harp, because when I got my banjo and the bass that I rented before that and the mandolin that I rented before either, there's a jaw harp like right at the counter, at the musical instrument store and rental center. And I have really wanted it. Almost every time I've like picked it up, held it, looked at it, marveled on how cheap it is, and then not gotten it. By the time I'm doing a J Meowkbang, I better be like okay with playing some jaw harp. It's such a the microphone is quiet. Oh no. Dang it. I actually was worried about that. I can go adjust it potentially. Also, hi Chimerak. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Can you imagine? I'm sorry, but like, I know you already did. You said hurdy-gurdy, so you can. But can you imagine someone doing a mukbang and there's that ungodly, ginormous contraption involved? A hurdy-gurdy somehow interjecting its way into how? Featuring technically edible dinner fork. Featuring now. Chimerak, I have a list of all of the foods, as a matter of fact. I think I will post it to chat. That wouldn't kill me, I think. Immediately crashes the entire stream. Telegram's probably gonna be like, you need to perform 7 layers of verification. Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and copy this. And if I just... This is gonna look like Premiere jank. Let's see here. Oh, man. I'm not pinning that. That's horrid. I'm a very baby. I'm very baby when it comes to Twitch. Gosh. Well, I would love if like Automod kicked me from the stream. That'd be awesome. Would you please DM me that video? I don't believe I know what you're talking about. That's awesome, though. Yeah, so Chimerak, we've got a lot of stuff that starts with the letter A. Effectively everything here. I think despite it being snoozed on like everything and like super disconnected, my like brick phone just vibrated almost inexplicably. Oh, maybe it's still connected to something just enough to get the video, of course. Why my actual phone right over here didn't buzz virtually at all, you know, it's like that game by that studio with the lesbians and the time magic. Life's weird. I wonder what... There's got to be like some secret thing that the devs put in if I combine the raw almonds with just the right food. Like if I just go like American cheese, raw almond. I keep saying raw almond. It's like just say almond. The distinction is for when you cook it. Okay, so almond and apple. How about it? How about almond, apple, cheese, roll, American cheese. Okay. Oh, famalam. It is so nice. Perhaps a bit painfully obvious, perhaps a bit upsetting on your, you know, end. The American cheese is completely obliterating the flavor of everything else in this roll. Such that, like, it's like walking through a cheese-filled hallway. It's like a cheese museum. And there's just a guy yelling about apples in, like, the broom closet. Friends, I'm not gonna lie. That anchovie artichoke pizza being so frickin' tasty. I mean, not to be like, it's sending me, but it is like slightly surprising me. I wouldn't say it's sending me. I was just kind of worried. I thought that I was really gonna hate the anchovies. I thought the anchovies were just gonna like ruin this entire thing for me, virtually. By the way, I've been trying to talk a smidge louder. Is the stream mic really quiet still, or like considerably problematically quiet? The umami of the anchovies. I mean, honestly, poking fun aside, you're certainly right. Well, how about this? I'm gonna go ahead and take that slider and pop it into the red danger zone. Because aside from that one slip up I had with the salad bowl that we don't need to talk about, I haven't seen it get even into the yellow. So let's learn things together. Give that a shot. The Wabba Jack. dangerous. Alrighty. That was scary. Yeah, let's learn things together. I mean, it couldn't have made it a night and day difference because it was slid decently far up on the slider already anyhow. But every little bit helps, and I'd say it's worthwhile to try making this a decently better experience for all my friendos watching. Here, enjoy a little bit of the only ASMR content I'm going for today. I looked at the volume meter for the mic, and that was so close to like literally being null that I know you guys barely heard anything. I tried. I think doing a full-blown ASMR Meowkbang, what can I say? It just doesn't sound fun. I would say that. I can say that, and I feel it in my heart. I would say it sounds like it just wouldn't be terribly fun. But, like, I appreciate it. I'm just no natural-born ASM artist, I suppose. Oh my god. Did you see what I was about to do? Did you see that? Alright. I almost just used my damn grippers, my hands, to grab some of the arugula salad. Like, it's all good, folks. Having a wonderful time eating with y'all. Yeah. Get the mic with like the two ports on it or whatever. The one that ASM artists use to make like a left and right ear, like dual stimulus, like a binaural, whatever. Kymerak probably like tabbed out and just heard my fucking I'm so sorry. Pardon me. My grippers. So, you all may have noticed that there's a half a red apple and a half a green apple on my lovely snack tray here. The reason for that is I wanted to, you know, an apple, right? It's such a simple, very familiar ingredient to most of us in the northern hemisphere and pretty much everyone across the world, really. So I decided to do a little bit more tribute to the apple by doing half raw, fresh, crisp, delicious, chilled even, and doing half roasted. In the left ear today, we will be eating an apple, switches to right ear crunch. Like, I'm like tabbing the mic switch button like to a rhythm while I'm just like eating like 7 ribs of celery all bundled together like I'm a Foley artist. And they're just here like just going between their ears. That sounds great. So this is a somewhat slow roasted Fuji apple that I dusted with cinnamon, allowed to sit for about an hour to take in the cinnamon, and then rinsed it, so to speak, not really, with vanilla extract, like a bourbon style. So we're just trying to just immediately nuke the viewership for the ASMR stream. Is my gathering. This is fun. This slow roasted apple, it has like this texture reminiscent of applesauce, but a little bit more fun, a little bit more like creamy with just a smidge, just a little bit of like that matrix of fiber and pectin and whatever else, holding the apple together to make it have this contiguous texture. I actually really like that. For what it's worth, that was a Fuji apple, and in the cooking world, there's a bit of an acknowledgement that you don't really use Fuji for most cooking stuff. It's like ASMR stream, like, join if you dare. I'm just having a fun time. I'm not here to give you jollies. I'm so sorry. It's gonna be very disappointing. So, I thought I saw... Oh, it's winter. Never mind. Thought I saw a fly. That is incredibly unlikely. Okay. I'm here to eat fish sticks and mashed tater. You are not. Yeah, I am definitely not. I'm here to eat the letter A today. Oh yeah. So, Fuji apples, I'm not terribly familiar with hearing about Fuji getting used in cooking. It is an exceptional eating apple and is very nice for salad, I suppose, or apple fries, any of that cute shit. Slow roasted, it started to have a bit of like this puddingy, like velvety but semi-rigid texture. This is a Granny Smith apple that we put through the exact same process and roasted it. So you see it there. This is probably gonna taste like a bite of like errant apple pie filling with less sugar, if I had to throw out a guess. Interesting. Now the slow roasting process on a Granny Smith apple with no pie shell around it, no flour or sugar additions that you would normally have in the case of pie filling, it's, like I said, like I expected, it is less sweet. It also has something of a natural caramel flavor to it. I would say going even past that which you would expect in your typical apple pie. Even if you do add cinnamon and vanilla to an apple pie, I feel like you may not really pick up that caramel layer. I think the caramel flavor came from the contact that the apple made so personally with the baking pan. So that's kind of cool, kind of fun Easter egg. I used Fuji apples in like a Japanese curry I had made last year or so, but you grate it up so it doesn't add much, or it was just cooked into oblivion. I would say, yeah, that probably mostly added like the pectin that gives it like a more thick texture, and then, you know, like some sugar, some acid. That's fun though. I appreciate recipes that kind of ask you to do that. Like, hey, you know this thing that has a whole identity of its own, a whole texture and stuff? Grate it up and add it to like 12 other things. That is very similar to this kofta that we made for the Arayes. There's just a whole onion like in there, but we grated it to basically smithereens. So yeah, it does add a very detectable flavor, though, given that it went in raw and the only cooking it received was what the Arayes went through in the pan. Let's definitely finish this slice of pizza. God, I can't believe I'm an anchovy fan. Does that make me a fanchovy? Uh-oh, you've been banned from Twitch. Sorry. I will say this, guys. I will say this. I acclimated myself into liking sardines, and liking them quite a bit. If you have no history of doing that and you hate sardines, tread with caution. Maybe put like one anchovy on one slice of your artichoke pizza. And also do what I did. Mitigate the salt in every other part of the pizza. I'm talking like a no salt added sauce. Take the marinade off of the artichoke hearts, like not rinsing it, just press it out, shake it off and everything. And if you can make your own pizza dough, go absurdly light on the salt, just enough to like help it form. You know. Because I'm digging this, but I feel like it's partly thanks to the precautions I took. Maybe. So, I never did learn the etymology of where the word, like, a toast, a toast to your health or whatever, toast to the new happy wedded couple. I never learned the etymology of where that came from. As a child, I made up my own kid brain explanation for it. I was like, oh, of course. Because grown-ups like toast. Because it's boring, but it gets the job done. And it's a grown-up thing. Grown-ups also like alcohol because it's yucky and it makes jokes funnier or something. So they just love toast so much that they say it when they're drinking. Yeah. So anywho, I learned in the Russian language class that they actually say toast. Like, I might have slightly messed up the consonants on the end there, but yeah, toast. It at least is treated as a cognate. I don't know how common it is, but yeah. I know that in many languages... Thanks, Wolfie. I know that in many languages there's something similar to toast in terms of sound, too. Like, in German, I believe it's Prosit. So, that's cool. I also learned a Greek one back when I was, like, studying Greek as a small kid. And a Greek, like a common Greek cheer is yamas. And then, finally, kanpai. Kanpai, which is very similar across most of East Asia, by the way. There's like kanpai and like kanpe, and yeah. So, all of that to Alexander Estonian lager. but more sincerely to you guys for joining me for my Meowkbang. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. So it was a bit nerve-wracking because I didn't want it to just fall apart terribly, like close to the beginning. If it falls apart now, it's kind of like, well, we had a good run, folks. But at least getting to this point is kind of fun and special to me. So, shouts out. And also, thank you to everyone who's in the chat and, like, is kind of, in a way, actively helping me troubleshoot stuff. I don't want you to feel like that's, like, actually your role. But, yeah. Thank you all the same. Well, it's good. It's good to be straight edge. If you get nothing out of drinking booze, it's just like, at that point, it's another cigarettes. Most people I know who smoke them are like, this doesn't do anything nice for me. Shit, I just do this because I'll become an asshole, an insufferable asshole if I don't have this. If you don't have any fun or, like, care to have that kind of fun with booze, man, oh my gosh, like, thank goodness there is nothing good to come from imbibing, so to speak. I like it though. Okay. Vamos a cambiar a agua porque necesito beber algo más de cerveza. Yeah, see, I can only directly reference the water while talking in Spanish because then it's agua. Yeah. What the hell is Dr. Stoner's vodka? I love that that's a thing. Like, just on paper. Oh yeah, we had some Dr. Stoner's vodka. What the hell? And tasted it straight too is crazy work. Oh my gosh. Why did they do that to you? Ugh. I guess you did it to yourself partly, huh? But still, I feel so bad for your past self. Like, straight vodka at 21 with little to no other prior alcohol exposure is, once again, crazy work. No one did. It was my curiosity. Well, okay. Good. Gosh. Like, I've had my fair share of drinks, and straight vodka has never been the business. Like, there needs to be a social amp up for me to feel that straight vodka is worth anything. It will worth any degree of the experience of drinking it, because I have a big ass stomach. Organ, at least. I know a lot of people are like, nuh-uh. But no, the organ of my tum-tum is very big. So I can drink beer and have a great time and I don't feel bloated or anything. Straight vodka, that's... Well, haven't touched any alcohol since. That's fine. You are perfect without it, so... Yeah. Maybe have, like, a cider if you ever get curious. Like, have something nice. kind of wonder if one of my coworkers snuck in here and is watching. She's like almost freakily curious about my life outside of work. I mean, it's flattering, but she has all the tools necessary to find this stream. I don't really care if she finds this stream, that's fine. But I'm curious, and yet obviously I'm not going to bring it up and like go question her about it. That's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah, Wolfie for Good being 2020, 2025. You're getting elected to official Good Bean, I think, for whatever these are called, primaries or no, not primaries. Yeah, anyway, you're getting elected. In fairness, yeah. It's funny. There is a very real concern of alcoholism on both sides of my family, too. Saved it. You see, most of the time, if you take a sweet and then you take the base formula and you just add citrus to it. Ah, man. You take the base formula and you just add citrus to it. I'm not immediately on board. I may even be like opposed, because as a kid I didn't like citrus. I felt like it kind of was just like a meh or even yucky kind of flavor. I associated it with like cleaning products and stuff. But in the midst of these all sorts of licorices, there's one that I call the sandwich. I don't know what an actual candy man or candy maker professional called these. Shocking, because I really do love these, so I should learn about them. But the sandwiches have a definite citrus element. And think about that. Like, you have coconut, decently divisive ingredient. Black licorice, crazily divisive ingredient, bordering on a public enemy. Then you have citrus, which I would say is actually a somewhat generally liked flavor, but for me, was an iffy one. So, yeah. Surprise, no surprise. Guest appearance from the King of A. The King of A. Am I zoned out? Am I like... Are you saying alcohol is the king of A? Because I might have actually zoned out, like, the context of our chat. That'd be wild. Oh! Surprised that there's no surprise guest appearance from the King of A, the Prince of Puppies, my little guy, Ali. I just didn't want him to attack me for the entire stream, so I kind of erred on the side of let's be cool and give him some healthy goodies of his own and leave him with his mom. And I think that is the kindest thing I can do for him. Because otherwise, it would be like if I was like made to sit, like, because he'd like all of this stuff. He is an absolute freak for food. So he would like all of this stuff, and he would just sit like right there and cry or stare very sadly. And I was just like, I can't do my little buddy like that. Like that's a feels bad man type moment if there ever was one. Alright. Alexander was not bad. I want to say it was no Kozol Cherny, but it was not bad. So I'll have something that I know for sure is also not bad. An Angry Orchard apple cider. That's pretty A. That's pretty A. So I'm gonna go ahead and top her off. This will definitely be our last drink of the night, by the way. I'm not crazy. So, yeah. This is crisp apple. I believe crisp apple is their, like, basic flavor. I was actually looking for the dry. There's a flavor that's called, like, crisp and dry or extra dry or something like that. I couldn't find it. Nothing of terribly tremendous value was lost, so that's okay. That is quite alright. Yeah. Fun stuff, though. Fun stuff. I really like apple cider. Funny enough, I had quite a few different little samples of drink before I was even allowed to have apple cider, and I think that was done with intent. Like, we're gonna make you think that this is, like, really hard to find or something. We're gonna make you think that, like, this is non-standard, this is rare. So after we only let you have, like, Budweiser Ultra Light, some crap like that, then we'll introduce this, but we'll kind of play it off like, oh yeah, these come by once in a while, you can't really get them. Because, yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, you have such terrible impulse control, such terrible addiction, habit control. Apple cider might be a bit too dangerous. I just gotta throw it out there. It is very tasty. Yeah, and it's like super... It's one of those things where you can tell... like something of a scientist, something of a scientific type personality was tasked with formulating that to be like incredibly easy to drink, incredibly delightful, and yeah, tasty things are addicting. I mean, that's the whole reason. Yeah, I'll go ahead with it. That's the whole reason, basically, that flavored cigarettes are like super duper like banned in my state. You have to go very out of your way to even find them, no less to be like allowed to buy them. Sunny, Sunny, great to see you here. Hey, for you, bud, got some almonds. Sunny is a very squirrely fella. Good to see ya. Shoot, I've got quite the list of foods here, Sunny. Not gonna lie. It's a lot. Sunny, you know, as a squirrel and a fan of such things, you know, what are the best? Oh yes, cashews for C, heck yeah. What are the best nuts, Sunny? Top 3 nuts. Squirrel facts. I just want to throw this out there. Probably a bit irresponsible on my part. The stream is being managed on my actual PC. Oh my god, it is. It did go down. Okay. If it keeps crashing a lot, I will very possibly decide, like, that's a really reasonable place to end it. The question was, what are the top 3 nuts? What are the top 3 squirrel nuts? Or the top 3 nuts in the opinion of a natural-born squirrel? There you go. Okay. Heck yeah. Pecans, walnuts, but then of course acorns. I was actually just talking to my girlfriend today about how, oh my god, not the phone now too. Nuts indeed. Yeah, guys, I'm actually filming this through a brick phone that I have. It's not even hot. I'm shocked that it's not even hot, and it hasn't even lost 10% of its volume. That is actually kind of cray. Shouts out to this, like, brick Motorola phone whose SIM card detector components don't even work. I will say, I gotta be letting people get back to their lives, so if it crashes again, I think that's a great place to call it. I was going to call it semi-soon anyway, and start putting my leftovers away. Shoot. I'm really glad that things like this kind of contain themselves. Little avocado has its own, its own natural container till we're truly ready to eat it. Meanwhile, with this apple, like, I have to go and eat it. I have to make good on this promise to eat this food. When I was younger, oh my god. Great point. Yeah. When I was younger, oh yeah, I would not eat an apple if it went, like, brown from oxidizing. Even if it had been cut, like, an hour prior. I was such a little lame little brat child. Oh man, maybe it's actually getting really hot. Maybe it's actually really super duper hot. Maybe I'm being unfair. It is also possibly Twitch or something. And yeah, to answer, it is definitely a pizza. It is actually a pizza inspired by a pizza from one of my favorite video games. So, yeah, it is an anchovy and artichoke pizza. Because in Quest for Glory 5, one of like my favorite video games as a kiddo, you actually have to make that pizza to progress in the game if a certain coin flip landed in a certain way. There is another pizza that you'd have to make. I know that's really goofy sounding. If the coin flip lands the other way, you have to go get a pepperoni pizza and add peppers to it to make a P&P pizza. But if not, then you have to make an A&A pizza, which is the anchovy and artichoke. So I'm refreshing my mod view over here, and it kind of looks like it's working. OBS makes it look like it's working. Mod view is kind of playing some games with me, so I hope a pizza that oh gosh. Sunny, you are actually so impressive at like making some of like the most intensely like rachy puns. It's actually really interesting. Like it's very endearing. Go to channel page. Taking a look at the channel page here real quick. Yeah, okay. I suppose it is working. Good. I'm gonna get chat up real quick. Thank goodness. Okay. One last time before I totally forget everything we're supposed to be doing. So, this has been the A mukbang. Meowkbang. Mukbang. Meowkbang. We've got dried apricots, all sorts. So apricots, all sorts, almonds, avocados, American cheese of 2 types, apples, raw and roasted, asparagus, blackened, so to speak, Aloo bean baingan, Arroz con leche, Acorn squash roast, anchovy and artichoke pizza, Arayes, Arugula salad, Alexander Estonian lager, Armenian apricot wine, Amish sour cream, and Angry Orchard apple cider. Just for anyone who got here a bit later. That was a lot of talking, so let me go ahead and have a sippy here. Wonder what made the phone crash twice in quick succession. Like, I really was starting to think like, oh yeah, it's over. Like, my hardware is now officially failing me. It's done. We had a good run, folks, but no, now it's working again. Kind of weird. Whatever. Oh! You know what it could have been, guys? It could have been the Wi-Fi, actually. So, fun fact, my phone is beaming the video over to my computer via Wi-Fi because I don't have an HD webcam. And then my computer is from there sending the stream via Wi-Fi to my router. Look at this, like, so, on principle, I'm, like, super nice to the people at the grocery store. Like, it's just a good thing to just be, like, a kind, courteous, patient person. Not everyone in my family thinks that way, and I don't like that, but I think that way, and I try to act it. That said, I did kind of want to talk to bruh. I said, can I get some American cheese? Whatever the most standard, like, deli slice is. So, this isn't even all of this, by the way. There were, like, 4 really janky slices that were, like, half the size of the block of cheese. Like, as though the slicer gave out halfway through cutting the block of cheese. Then there was like a heel, like a thick heel of cheese, like a fat chunky block. And then finally there was like a half, a very pretty, like 4 half-size slices. It's kind of difficult to explain. Just know that I had to do a tiny bit of doctoring before I plated up the cheese. And I decided for the story alone to include this chicken tender of this is like if a fish stick was made out of cheese instead of fish burger. Right, so anyway, yellow American cheese. Yeah, let's give it a go. Not my phone again. It's cool that this is a just chatting stream. I just gotta say, like, for what it's worth, it's just good that it's this genre of stream, because, you know, yeah, because, you know, it's like the type of stream where if you just have to listen to my silly ass talk for like 15-20 seconds, it's not the end of the world. And that's really beautiful. So beautiful that we can just be chatting, like the suggestion says, you know, we're just chatting. And I'm just really thankful that it was like an hour before it did this, so people got to really see the spread of food. We're eating together, we're talking. The most momentum that the big many-person convo had, that segment of the stream, like that was the time for the phone to be on peak performance. So I'm happy. Excuse me, I'm happy. I am in no state of mind to do this, but I'm going to attempt to compare white American cheese against yellow American cheese. I don't expect a big difference. I'm not already making my mind up, but I don't expect a big diff. Okay. I will say, these smell astonishingly similar to cheddar. Like, this boar's head stuff is definitely a cut above. No pun intended. How much percent cheese is in American cheese? I think the reason American cheese is regarded as so sketchy is because there is not like a set percent. I think it can be like basically not cheese. But then it can also be like practically just cheese, but treated a certain way. How many Americans were sacrificed to the sauce? Just eat the fucking cheese. One sec. One of my hairs was desperately trying to make it into my mouth. Okay. Yellow American cheese, Boar's Head variety. Shockingly authentic cheese flavor, akin to cheddar. The smell, much of the flavor is akin to a very mild cheddar. If you've had like mild versus extra sharp, you're gonna say this is way further on the mild end. But isn't that kind of obvious? So I'm gonna give the white a try. I don't really have an amazing palate cleanser here. I feel very silly using Angry Orchard to cleanse, but we're like 2 hours into the Meowkbang. The stream freaking flickered like at least once. There's all sorts of things that don't need to be ideal anymore. And it's just for fun anyway. So, considering that, I really need to try this with someone helping. I'm like blindfolded. Maybe we do a proper palate cleanse. So this is interesting. Not gonna rule out placebo at all. Yellow has like less of a like almost like a toasted sharp, like it almost has less of the distinct like a buttery kind of like nutty flavor, but it has more of a almost tartness that you would associate cheddar with, whereas this has almost more of like a nuttiness that you would associate. I very vaguely, you would almost associate like an Asiago or something with. I think it's all placebo. I believe this is the same cheese times 2. Aw, thanks, Wolfie. Yeah, I can dig it. Nile Red making American cheese. I'm actually kind of versed in much of the American cheese making, like demystification. I know you take proper traditional cheese and then you add sodium citrate to it, and the sodium citrate causes the regular cheese to melt down into like gooey, soupy like goo. Then there's something called sodium, maybe this is correct, sodium hexametabisulfite or hexametabisulfate. I don't remember. It's okay. It don't matter. And that is the stabilizer that encourages it to gel back into like a sheet. without the need for extensive hardware to kind of coax it into the right form. These are all big time allegedlys out of me though, because this is all like secondhand stuff. I've never experienced the making process. Even like through a close friend. Like it's all been internet people, like content creator type people making the cheese into squares of gooey cheese. Also, Gabby, I'm really glad that this could be like your first Meowkbang. I don't know if I've even watched one myself. I've seen them in passing in like videos referencing them or talking about them, and I've seen things that are akin to it. Like there's this awesome podcast / talk show, and it's called Last Meals, and they basically have a Meowkbang, but it's like the guest requests everything for their last meal, and the hosts like cook it up as well as they can, or even acquire it if it's like a hard to acquire thing, and then they make like a Nardwuar level interview to like interrogate the freaking guest. Really cool, fun, lovely, great vibes. If that counts as a Meowkbang, then I have happily watched many. Because they eat a lot, but they don't forcibly eat all of it. They have like a plate of each course. It's just the quantity of food is like Meowkbang level damn near. So I'm shimmying open this Arayes. I'm like shimmying it open very gently so that I can create the pocket again, which is like probably like sacrilegious as hell. But that's okay, because the other thing I want to do whilst doing that is shingle in some like relatively thin slices of avo, like a little cado up in my Arayes. I've definitely experienced the basic Arayes experience, sans tahini sauce. But let's get the avocado like in there, nicely in there. I said shingle in. I have apparently abandoned that idea. And then eat it up. Yeah, this is the Arayes that fun Easter egg, something I almost forgot to even mention. This is the Arayes that I actually slipped a little bit of American cheese into while making it, because I wanted to know. So I think this is just going to be like an avocado cheeseburger at this point. And I'm not opposed to that. It is a kofta spiced avocado cheeseburger. Arayes. The kofta spices really do like add a lot of depth to this, because some bites I have and I'm like, man, I wish it was plain beef. But then I think about how I've eaten over 3 of these. No, sorry, over 2 of these. And I don't think I would have actually been interested enough to have more than 2 if it was plain Jane ground beef into burger. The fact that it's kofta, like spice mix, the onion, the pita, I think that adds a lot to it. So, between Diwali yesterday and some unexpected stuff today that was really minor and me needing to sleep more, I wasn't able to do this funny thing I was thinking about doing. But I did strongly consider, like, what if we calculated all of the calories of this food, ate what we ate, and then learned how much calories were actually consumed. Now, I believe that for my sanity's sake, not doing that not doing that's probably a cool thing I did for myself. Because, I mean, I don't want to be thinking, like, oh, I finished this, and that's like 80 calories. Oh, I ate like 3 slices of that. That's like 250 calories. Like, I would rather it just be like a wild vibe. Don't you think so? So, we're getting to the point in the Meowkbang where the host starts doing some silly stuff. You know, just because we've been acquainted. And don't mind me. That's all I have to say is don't mind me. So this is going to be our apricot, our Armenian apricot wine with the Angry Orchard. Just about a shot added. I think it'll flavor it nicely without totally, like, train wrecking the flavor profile. Because I really do like the blend they do on Angry Orchard. It's big box. It's like, you know, probably owned by like a multi-millionaire. I get it, but it is well put together. It's well formulated for what it's worth. That tastes remarkably like the one that I went looking for. I went looking for a flavor of Angry Orchard called like dry or extra dry or something like that. Extra dry has a lot more of like a mature fruit flavor, like a wine type flavor. That's a clever way of getting there. The apricot is like lost thanks to how overpowering apple is. And the wine flavor itself, just all that yeasty kind of flavor, you definitely lose the apricot pretty quick. But this is cool. This is fun. So Wolfie had a lot of ideas for B and C. Meowkbangs. If anyone else is watching and you have any thoughts on like a bee type, bee initial food, a food starting with the letter B, I'm open. I can't make any promises because for the most part I'm just trying to be my own crazy self and make whatever nonsense like really sings to my heart and catches me like wanting. But I'm definitely open to some cool suggestions, especially if it's anything that you know to be in season in the northern hemisphere right now, because I kind of wanted for the Meowkbang to not be like an egregiously like detrimental thing. I intend to not waste any of this food unless we find that it actually makes me sick or something. And I want the food to be of minimal waste and minimal ecological impact where we can do it. I mean, there's gonna be some stuff where it's like, you know, we can't find that sustainably farmed, might just not feature it, so yeah. Anyway, I would like to go A through Z, Gabby. It's really up in the air. As you see this crazy variety here, which is not even the craziest, I get it, but I'm a one-person team, so it's crazy for me. For future ones, I'm thinking of toning down the variety pretty drastically. I can't say like, oh, it'll be like 2 things, but I think it'll be like 4 things or 5 things that I know I'm so enthused to eat and eat all of that I will just crush it, and there will be nothing left, and I'm not using up all of the energy that would take away from my appetite. I'm not using up all that energy assembling this smorgasbord of crazy stuff. But I'd like to go through Z, because there's some really interesting ones once you get out into more obscure letters of the alphabet. There's an author of scary internet stories. Not necessarily creepypasta, really not necessarily. But internet-based horror literature. And he said something that I thought was really fun, really cool, just neat. He was like, limitations like spur creativity. So he was kind of talking about that in defense of like the rules that subreddits like No Sleep will have, where it's like there's such weird like regs on what the story needs to feature, what it needs to be about, so on and so forth. He was kind of saying it not in a staunch defense of, but in like a light, reasonable degree of defense, because people love to like crap on that stuff. You know, like, why are there so many rules? Just scary stories, guys. Stop being so lame. Which I kind of feel that too, but yeah, he was kind of voicing his opinion for why it's not the worst thing in the world, and this A through Z type thing, it kind of gets my creative brain sort of fired up and thinking. Plus, I think it's just fun. I'm not super into Meowkbang streamers. I don't know of people who do this super regularly to the point where I'm acquainted with them and their content. But I've never heard of any of them eating A through Z. I'm sure someone has to have tried it at least. But that's what I want to do. Let's try to eat A through Z. With the limitations being more like, yeah, like let's try to make a lot of the produce, or even all of the produce, be organic stuff. Let's try to, if we're finding anything that has like sketchy ecological background, let's try to find it sustainably farmed. And if there's something where it's like we don't know about the profile on its like ethical production, but we know that like in terms of American cheese, the whole thing was like boar's head, get boar's head. That's the one that everyone's like, oh, it's so delicious. It's like unlike normal American cheese. So it's like, okay, let's try to get freaking boar's head. So we just get a little bit. Stuff like that. And yeah, I know boar's head could have gone in B, but I'm just trying to feature American cheese because it's so funny and I want to be done. I want to be done talking about American cheese. Meat dishes are totally not off the table. Arayes is full of ground beef. This pizza has anchovies on it. Oh, is that it? Okay, that might be it. Oh, there we go. Great excuse to get up again. I think we gotta like consider like some kind of replacement for that. Because it's not conducive to me having the greatest time when I'm up here. I think I'm going to try to get a long cord having HD wired webcam that just goes directly to my computer. I don't want increased variables, you know? Thanks for bearing with that, guys. I mean, I know it's not the end of the world or anything, but it is kind of lame. Like, I think it literally crashes my stream. And if it doesn't crash my stream, then the Wi-Fi is actually despicable. I don't know. Yeah. Anywho. Prince Fate went streaming 7 times. Number 7. You guys want to know a really just objectively sad story about the Arroz con leche? So, this is super lame. I just gotta throw it out here. This is super lame. As part of like trying to do this ethically and trying to like be like a more conscious consumer, I saw organic milk at the grocery store. And I was planning on cooking right away. Organic milk had a 50% off on it because it was really close to the end of its shelf life. Like, it was like sell by today. This particular type of milk, yeah, organic, very cool, very awesome. It also had algal oil added to it. Algal oil would be oil coming from algae or algae for the end goal of adding omega-3s to the milk. I'm trying so hard to enjoy this arroz con leche. It tastes like fish. I can taste the algal oil. I didn't notice this until I had completed cooking it and went back like a day or two later to have some milk and cookies. To have some oatmeal. I love oatmeal and I love making it with milk. And this made the oatmeal taste like there was some kind of fishy funk in it. And I was freaking out because I bought a lot of oatmeal. It was a really good deal. And I anticipate that the extremely long shelf life of the oatmeal won't even be necessary. But I got really scared. Like, oh God, did something happen to all of the oatmeal? And I was so relieved as well as irritated to find out that I bought milk with algae oil in it. Said algae oil tastes like algae. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to consider that very heavily. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap up here to kind of close out, guys. We ate the vast majority of this food. Very pleased with myself for that. And ultimately, I had a really good time, and we kind of got a chance to all hang out and chat. And that's what this is all really about. So, thanks again for coming, everyone. If you have any last questions or suggestions or anything, feel free to drop them. I'm going to take the last couple bites, finish my drink, and yeah, just get on top of boxing up these lovely little arrangements we have here. Aw, heck yeah. You are welcome, Wolfie. Thanks again for coming and offering your insight, as well as lots of real cool conversation. Really appreciate it. Gabby, you're welcome. Thanks again for dropping in. So glad to have some friends over for dinner. Heck yeah.